pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Ackerman? Here. Mrs. Bryce? Here. Mr. Greco?
Here.
Mr. Lawson?
Here.
Mr. McDowell?
Here.
Mr. Parquette?
Here.
Mr. Pavelko?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Do you have anybody here that failed to sign the sheet who wants to speak on any of the agenda items? Seeing nobody wanting to speak on the agenda items, we'll move on. I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes from the February 13th meeting.
I'll make a motion for the minutes of February 13th meeting.
Motion by Mrs. Ackerman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Parquette. Any questions? Any comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko?
Aye.
Mr. Parquette?
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce?
Yes.
Mr. Greco?
Yes.
Motion passed.
We're going to delay a few minutes here. Maybe we can get into the finance first. We need a motion for that as well. We had an executive session, by the way, on February the 27th. And, so everybody knows we had an executive session. Mrs. Ackerman, would you handle the finances, please?
Yes, Mr. President. Treasurer's report for the month of February 2020. Balance in checking account as of February 1st, $336,457.77. Total receipts, $111,891.09. Temporary investments as of February 1st, $206,202.63. Total funds available, $654,631.49. Total expenditures, $150,316.41. Total temporary investments as of February 29th, 2020, $86,502.79. Balance in checking accounts as of February 29th, 2020, $812.29. I'd like to make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as read.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Ackerman, second by Mr. Parquette. Any questions? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko?
Aye.
Mr. Parquette?
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce?
Yes.
Mr. Greco?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Payroll report for the month of February 2020. Administration, bookkeeper, mayor, $7,009.20. Tax collection, real estate, $523.07. Police, $39,800.36. Fire, $142.62. Code enforcement, $1,763.10. Highway and streets, $21,771.61. Total payroll report for the month of February 2020, $71,009.96. Bill report for the month of February 2020. Total bills paid, $71,285.31. I'd like to make a motion to approve the bill report as read.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Ackerman, second by Mr. Parquette. Any questions? Any comments?
What was the final total for the month?
$71,285.31.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Bryce?
Yes.
Mr. Greco. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. Parquette?
Yes.
Mr. Greco?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion passed.
Sorry.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2020-1, community local match to the Mon Valley Transit Authority of $5,509 for the year 2020 and 2021 fiscal year.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Ackerman, second by Mr. McDowell. Any questions on the motion? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko?
Aye.
Mr. Parquette?
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce?
Yes.
Mr. Greco? Motion passed.
That finishes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Ackerman. We're going to deviate a little bit away from the agenda. Several days ago, I approached our borough engineer to find out if we had a planning committee or planning commission here in Donora. She showed me the list, and on that list, I didn't notice not one person there was in the medical field. And with this coronavirus going through the country, I thought it necessary that we get somebody from the medical field and possibly have a little talk about the possibilities of what can we do in case it does strike Donora. I made some contacts with our residents, in particular Mrs. Darlene Homa, a doctor of anesthesiology. I talked to another resident of ours, Carol Soltis. She's in charge of the OR nursing at Mon Valley Hospital. Talked to Dr. John Danik, who's also a past resident of Donora. And just what is it of a plan, or what kind of a plan can we come up with? As elected leaders, we have a lot of responsibilities, in not only to protect the citizens, but to make sure that we have a plan in order. After talking to them, I contacted various members of council, and every member of council was in total agreement that we should have something to do here, and someone to put on a presentation. I discussed this with the mayor. The mayor is 100% behind it. As I stated, all 7 members of council are united in this. And at this time, I would like to have Mrs. Homa. Would you please come forward, please? Dr. Danik, Carol Soltis. I think Dr. Homa would probably want to start the discussion. Everybody know everybody? You're in charge. Come up here.
Right away, she said, you're in charge.
You're here. We go back now, wait.
Yeah, we do. Well,
And if somebody can't hear from the back or whatever have you, please raise your hand. There's a microphone that should be working. You want to make sure, Mike, please, that it is operable?
usually people don't have a hard time hearing pretty vocal. The main thing with this virus is to make sure that you, first of all, take care of yourself, okay? Wash your hands, use hand sanitizers, that's an absolute must. If you're going to cough, cough into your elbow so that it doesn't spread. The other thing that they're recommending, and I'm going to keep people away when I say this, is to use social distancing, which means 3 to 6 feet away from other people. One more, keep yourself away. Right now, it's mainly contained in eastern side of our state, but doesn't mean that it's not going to spread over here. So, again, if you take care of yourself, take care of your family members, They're asking also that if you have family members in a nursing home, please don't go and visit them. I don't know if the nursing homes are now making that a policy, because these are the elderly, and they're most susceptible. Anyone with upper respiratory problems like asthma, COPD, bronchitis are more susceptible to this. So they ask that those are the ones. If you're healthy and you keep yourself healthy and follow the wash your hands, hand sanitizers, stay away from 3 to 6 feet away from other people, cough into your elbow. The other thing is there's a panic going on that people think, that if they have a cold and they don't feel good, that right away they need to go to the hospital. What some of the recommendations are, and John, you can probably expound on this, is if you have a cold or a cough, okay, try to self-quarantine yourself. Don't go out in public. Don't go to bingo. Don't go bowling. Self-quarantine yourself. If you're running a temperature, they're looking at temperatures of what, 104? Yeah, 100.4. If you're not getting any better, then you need to contact your physician and see the recommendations about going and getting tested. But if it's just a common cold, it should get better in itself. Now with this particular virus, you will see it manifests itself in anywhere from 2 to 14 days. All right. So I know in the surgical facilities that I'm affiliated with, what we have been doing is if you have out of the country and you are scheduled, and I've had 2 patients already I had to cancel. If you've been out of the country, we want you to stay home for 14 days before you reschedule in any one of our facilities. I had one patient that just came back from Egypt and was going to be 14 days, was going to be this Monday, and was going to have surgery on Tuesday. I said, no. I have another one coming back from Cabo who was supposed to have surgery on Monday. He said, no. Okay, 14 days from the time you come back into the United States. If you don't exhibit any symptoms, then we can go ahead and reschedule you. I don't know, anything else?
Some of you may have questions about why go through all these measures now. And I think it's a credit to the Donora Council to be forward-thinking about this in a preventive standpoint. The best thing that could happen would be next year at this time, we're all sitting here and we say, wow, that was a big nothing. And that's actually what we're trying to have happen. The virus is not in any Western Pennsylvania community identified as of today. But that could certainly well happen. It's a small world now. With jet travel, with mass transportation the way it is, people get around like they never did before. So a disease which can arise in a marketplace in China can suddenly end up in Florida, New York, Philadelphia, or Pittsburgh in a matter of a few weeks. The idea of being self-quarantined, it's not that you're going to lock yourself up, wear sackcloth, and go on a 40-day fast out into the desert. It's common sense. You wash your hands. You look for basic principles of normal human hygiene. You try to be as clean as you can. You clean surfaces, not just in bathrooms, but on kitchen surfaces, floors, if you are able to get down and do so. What else can we touch upon?
Doorknobs.
Doorknobs, yeah. Anything that are commonly handled. When you wash your hands in a public place, don't throw that paper towel that you dry off with immediately. Use it to wipe off the faucet handles that you just used. And carry it with you to the door. I always made it a habit of taking mine, open up the door, open it with the paper towel. And then hold it open with one foot, roll it up in a ball, and get it into the waste receptacle. These are common sense measures. Hopefully, if we look at it from a standpoint of, let's make this part of the way we live life, these things won't be as rampant around here. And a lot of other people wonder, well, why this quarantine? Isn't it eventually going to get here? Maybe not. Because the longer that you hold off having cases being out in the community and transmitting that case to other people, let's say we get to May, June, it starts to warm up a little bit. What happens there? Humidity goes up. With humidity, any virus particle that you sneeze out suddenly is a little bit heavier as it gets into a human atmosphere. Humidity is not always bad. Ideally, in a home, it should be between 20 and 50%, preferably around 30, 35. But once you get above 50, guess what happens? Mold growth. So you have a double reason for keeping the humidity in a right range. But when we get into the summer around here, humidity keeps the virus from spreading just for sheer water weight that the virus itself picks up. That's one thing. The other thing is with humidity up to a more normal level, your mucous membranes inside your nose and throat aren't as irritated. They aren't as dry and cracked. So for the next person who does happen to inadvertently sneeze into your face, you are less susceptible by having a properly hydrated mucous membrane than the next person who smokes or hasn't taken care of him or herself quite as well. So a corollary to this, meaning this is an associated rule that you might want to follow, drink some water. Stay as hydrated as you possibly can. It's good for your heart, it's good for your kidneys, it's good for your lungs, and by staying hydrated, you keep all the mucous membranes, which is the tissue that lines your mouth, nose, throat, all the way down into your lungs, and then some, but we'll keep it simple for that. By keeping yourself well hydrated, you already are in better shape for fighting off something like this. So the idea is, finally, 3, by self-quarantining and not having the risk of having so many cases develop all at once, we put less of a load on the healthcare providers. Because if we overtax the hospitals, they can only take so many people. Mr. Fitzgerald and representatives from both UPMC and AHN, one of the rare times when they get together under peaceful terms in the same room, they spoke about having 1,500, 1,800 beds available in the county, and they could probably increase that number, double it. Excuse me, that's still only 3,000 people. And no, this is not a cold, it's post-nasal drip from a dry nasal mucosa in the winter. But you don't want to overtax the health provider population. A hospital, if they have sick employees, and I was the employee health director for 16 years at Jefferson, if a hospital has sick employees, they can get by with 10% absenteeism. But if they have 30 or 40% absenteeism, that hospital is not going to run too well. And then you're stuck because you may be sick and want to go to the hospital, and suddenly you're wondering, why am I being transferred 70 or 80 miles away? That's why, because you've overwhelmed the local system. So if everybody can do their part in some way or another, it doesn't have to be. It's not even, if you'll pardon me interjecting, a Lenten sacrifice. It's common sense. Sneeze into your elbow. If you have to sneeze in your hand, what's the first thing you're going to do right after that? Wash. And you could get by very well with simple soap and water. To put this in perspective, bad news sells. And you should keep in mind that for the 2019-2020, the current influenza season, I just checked the CDC numbers today, there have been 20,000 flu-related deaths since last July, related to classic old flu, the same strains of flu that were around that caused us trouble in 1918, 1957, the late 1960s, the swine flu of the 70s. And it's still there. It's still circulating around. And if this particular virus can burn out and mutate, it might still cause us trouble. This virus belongs to the same family as SARS. You've heard of that, no doubt. But when's the last time you've heard of SARS? It's been a long time. So the hope is we get it to burn out, and in 12 to 18 months we have a vaccine. And beyond that, by observing common sense lifestyle practices like hand washing, If you have to sneeze or blow your nose, you have a cloth or a paper receptacle in which to deposit that effluent, and stay away from crowds until this passes. It's a good exercise to begin now, just in case cases start to arise around here. You're already ahead of the game, you're thinking about it, and you know what you need to do as far as, how do I limit this in my community? And I think that's about all I have to say.
I thank you.
Questions?
Yes.
Okay, for me, I went to the hospital yesterday to visit, and I have a doctor's appointment on Monday. So do I just continue on what I'm doing?
The general
as long
advice
as I'm
is
feeling
go
okay?
and live your life.
Okay, I'm just saying, as long as I'm feeling okay, I should just continue on with my daily routine and whatever I have to do.
Yeah, now, if I had a cruise scheduled for 2 weeks from now, I might think twice about going out or something like that. Or I don't know that I would go to a concert at this point in time.
Again, whenever you do go to these places.
Same thing, same thing.
There's the sanitizer right there. I walk in the door, there's your mask on the desk. You can pick up and wear it. But I'll follow the lead from the doctor.
And I would volunteer that if you want us to be, or you want me to be a point person, I read medicine every day. So if I see something in the news, shall I contact the council president?
Yes, and what I had plans here was forming this committee and adding you to the planning commission, and you three, along with others that I've invited, spearheading a plan that what steps we should take should the coronavirus strike Donora. We're all hoping that it doesn't, but should it occur, then I'm counting on you people to improvise a plan so that we can get the necessities to our citizens. What do we do if the high-rise gets struck? You know they're going to shut that whole place down. We need to have a plan in place. And I think you want to say something,
Yeah,
Mrs. Carroll?
speaking on the same terms as that, we all have to be concerned about our neighbors. We have a lot of elderly people in Donora, and they need checked on probably on a daily basis just to make sure they're okay. I did home health for years, and there's days and weeks these patients don't see anybody. It's okay. I'm good. I'm doing it. But I'm just saying, if you haven't seen your neighbor for a day or two, or if you want to check on an elderly neighbor, I mean, we all have them. And they could be suffering with the condition, you never know it. They may have come in contact with somebody who came into their house. Their visiting nurse could have visited them and maybe you don't know that. So we just have to keep check with everybody, take care of our people, is my main concern.
So that you know, not only were these three invited, I also reached out to Dr. Petro, who couldn't make it this evening, but he wants to be a part of the committee. Bobby Joe's sitting there behind Brian Lawson. She's going to be on the committee along with Dr. Rodriguez. I'm looking for people with some good medical background that can possibly help us in the time of our need if we should happen to need it. Naturally, we're all praying and hoping that we don't, but should we need it, we want a plan in place. I also invited the assistant head nurse at Mon Valley Hospital. She couldn't make it, and I invited I believe he's the head nurse of same-day surgery, Chris.
Chris
I invited him. He's the one that typed out all these brochures for us to pass out tonight. So I'm looking for a lot of help here, and if anybody wants to join into that committee, feel more than free to contact the doctor or Darla Homa or Carol Soltis or anybody here on council. We'll put you in their direction. But yeah, we're looking for a committee that, should we get struck with this coronavirus, we're prepared. And not, we don't want to have a reaction, we want to have an action, and we want it in place. Anybody want to add anything more to that? Anybody on council got a comment?
Yeah. Do you actually have testing kits at the hospital?
Yes, we do.
The reason I ask that is I think there's 6 representatives that are in self-quarantine right now, and they were on the news earlier today saying they haven't been able to get tested. So you definitely have them.
I called the emergency room myself today, and I asked them if they had the testing kits, and they told me yes.
Okay.
I know that there have been those that have been tested. When I spoke to gather this information up, they have been tested, none's been confirmed. But they're testing people that they don't even think should be tested. It's just that they're demanding to be tested. And, but no, they have plenty of kids that want to. And I'm sure Jefferson has plenty of kids as well. You know, I'm sure that these hospitals are well prepared, or maybe not well prepared, but prepared. So, and again, I don't see any reason for anxiety or getting all scared. It's just something that we have to be aware of. And again, I refer to the committee.
No, that's well put. They're prepared, and that preparation is an ongoing thing. It's evolving on a daily basis. There was some, I wouldn't even say confusion, but for clearance to the FDA to get these tests, because they have to be certified. What good is the test if it's not accurate?
Again, any questions from anybody on council? Mary, you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to applaud all of you for putting this together and showing that you're working together and being proactive in all this. It's always ignorance, sometimes it breeds the anxiety. And hearing it from professionals and knowing that the local government is open and readily available to take care of these things, that's what we needed to do. And I really appreciate council's forwardness on this.
And then I had mentioned this to Mr. Greco too, that because we are in so close proximity with other, like Carroll Township and Monongahela and Charleroi, and our people travel back and forth to work. You have people from Charleroi coming in here and whatever. So we should possibly, after we all get together, reach out to those communities and find out what they're doing and invite them in this planning.
I'm so glad you said that. Today, I reached out to, I'd already informed President Greco, right before I came, I reached out to the other mayors in our surrounding communities and told them I would be talking to them within the next couple of days. We were kind of formulating this, and I wanted to hear from this committee. And that's exactly some of the things I want to ask you guys, what should we be setting up with them. I also reached out to Washington County Public Safety, and they forwarded to the council. I believe all of you should now have them in your emails, how to set up everything you're doing now, and also work around what the government should do. God forbid this should start to happen. So I need to speak to you guys about what you think we should be doing as community leaders with our surrounding communities.
So that you understand, we did have intentions on inviting Carroll Township supervisors, Monongahela and New Eagle. However, I wanted to formulate a plan first. And once we formulate a plan, then call them in and explain the plan that you guys come up with, and then let's see if they want to add to or take away from or whatever, and get their input as well. As you see, Dr. Rodriguez just arrived. He would love to be on the committee to help out as much as possible. And as I say, Dr. Petro couldn't make it, but we're hoping to get a plan. Once you guys get that plan in action, then yes, we're going to extend it to our neighboring communities. We need to. And we all need to be alerted about it. It's not just Donora, it's Monongahela, Carroll Township. Once one of their communities get it, we're bound to get it. So yes, we need to work together. Anybody else? Council? If not, I don't want to delay these people. If they want to go home, I'd like to let them go. If they want to stay, you're more than welcome to stay. But I thank each and every one of you, and we certainly appreciate it, not only as a council, but as a community, for your appearance here today and your input. And when you come up with another meeting, we can get another meeting together and all of these phone calls. If you're ready for another meeting, put your plan forth, just to throw some thoughts around, don't hesitate to call, please. We need to get a plan together.
Thank you so much.
Anybody at our table over here? Jimmy, Patsy, any of you guys got any questions over there? Okay. Well, then we'll move on with our council meeting. Health and sanitation, Mr. Bilko.
I know.
Okay, sanitation report for the month of February 2020. Monies collected during the month, $46,380.30. Delinquent sanitation fees collected through the magistrate, $89.46. And fine sanitation fees collected through the magistrate, $1,230.30. The code enforcement report for the month of February. Permits issued, 5. Construction costs, $274,241.40. And the permit fees were $2,779. Registration fee report for the month of February. Registration permit fees for the month, $2,835. Year-to-date total, $5,385. Occupancy fee report for the month, February, $250. Total for the year, $300. Okay, there were 172 inspections done, 5 zoning permits, 2 street opening permits, 87 compliance orders, 3 citations issued, and 1 appeal. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to rescind the motion made on February 13th, 2020 for the hiring of Dylan Altamara.
Motion on the floor, is there a second? Second by Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Second by Mr. Lawson. Is there any questions on the motion?
This gentleman was hired and he never
Showed up.
showed up, so that's why we're rescinding it.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing no questions or comments, roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko,
Aye.
Mr. Parquette,
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce,
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
If this is a follow-up motion, a motion to hire Shemaiah Lambert as a part-time code enforcement secretary at $11 per hour, up to 30 hours per week, with a start date of March 2nd, 2020.
I have a motion on the floor.
Second.
The second begin by Mr. Lawson. Mr. McDowell, I apologize. Any questions on the motion? Any comments?
She was hired, she actually started on the 2nd, and she's been working out well.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko,
Aye.
Mr. Parquette,
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce,
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
I have an announcement. The 2020 sanitation bills must be paid or postmarked by March 31st at the discount rate of $175. April 1st, 2020 begins the face rate of $250 and must be paid by June 30th, 2020. This being a nice spring day like we had today, just want to inform the public that the code enforcement will be out and we need to clean Donora up. And Mr. Jericho has been doing a great job of enforcing the cleanup. He's been working on inspections, so you'll be loosened up here from the inspections pretty soon and be able to be out there. So anybody that has any problems can call the borough office and they'll give you my phone number and you can get in touch with me or Mr. Jericho if you can't get in touch with Mr. Jericho, and all will be addressed. The only thing is, we can only do one at a time, so be patient. Mr. President, that's all I have for this evening. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pavelko. Recreation, Mrs. Bryce.
Yes, monies collected for the month of February 2020, $950 for rental fees. And I need a motion to approve Resolution 2022, Young Lungs at Play to prohibit smoking near playgrounds.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pavelko. Roll call, please. Oh, no, wait. Any questions? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko,
Aye.
Mr. Parquet,
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce,
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, I'm going to take a minute here to say.
I'm
we
sorry,
have-
hold it. She's got the floor.
We have information here, if anybody's interested on what those rules are and what that's going to be, right, playgrounds and parks, you know, it includes everything. Snuff, electronic cigarettes. So if anybody needs information on this, they'll be posted. You know, Young Lungs at Play, no smoking. It's going to go at the ball field, it's going to go at the park. But if anyone has any questions, we do have all the information available to you at the borough. So there's no question about that. All right, thank you. All right, motion to approve the payment of $1,600 to Martinet Planning and Consulting, LLC, for coordinating meetings with the borough and the DCED for the Rails to Trails project.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Bryce, second by Mr. Parquet. Any questions on the motion? Any comments on the motion? No questions, no comments. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko,
Aye.
Mr. Parquet,
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce,
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, motion to approve the appointment of Michelle Barish, Dennis Gutierrez, Robert Magella, Edward Parquet, and Bill Rosen to the Rails to Trails Palmer Park Steering Committee with the term ending December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mrs. Bryce, second by Mr. Pavelko. Any questions on the motion? Any comments on the motion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko,
Aye.
Mr. Parquet,
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce,
Yes,
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
and I have no more on my report on that.
Thank you, Mrs. Bryce. Now, that motion that she just made was for the Palmer Park area. That's a committee that's going to be a short-term committee. But they are requesting, as I see here, they're requesting that one of those people be nominated to a long-term committee that will go the whole length of the trails. So we're looking for a motion on an individual to be motioned to be on that committee that's long-term.
I'll make a motion for Edward Parquet to be on that committee.
I believe Mr. Parquet said that he did not want it. Is there,
I'll take that.
Let's vote on it. I got a second?
I'll second that.
there's a motion on the floor, can you hold both? I guess you can. There's a motion on the floor for Mr. Parquet.
They wanted someone from council to
They were,
represent.
as I recall, we met with Mr. Martinek last time. They were kind of accommodating with the number of committee members we could come up with. So I don't think
Okay,
that's
I'll
an
do
issue.
it.
Mr. Parquet? you go.
I'll take it.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor and second for Mr. Parquet. Any questions? Any motions? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman,
Yes.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. McDowell,
Yes.
Mr. Pavelko,
Aye.
Mr. Parquet,
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce,
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Mr. Lawson?
I have monies collected during the month of February for the banquet hall. It's $50. Also, I spoke to Brian Herbinko. He's with the United Painters Union. Right now he's in Florida. When he gets back, he's going to get in touch with me. We're going to do a walk around the building and see what we need about fireworks and paying it. And I'll hear from him probably within a week or so as soon as he gets back. Other than that, That's all I have at this time, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Lawson. Mr. Parquet, Highways and Streets.
Thank you, Mr. Greco. Motion to dispose of the unrepairable 1990 street sweeper.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Parquet, second by Mr. Kozaka. Any questions on the motion? Any comments on the motion? Hearing no comments or questions, roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman.
Yes.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Kovako. Mr. Parquet.
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce.
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion to rescind a motion made on February 12, 2020 for the street sweeper lease through lease experts. We're going to get it from a different company.
Very good. Motion on the floor by Mr. Parquet. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lawson. Any questions on the motion? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman.
Yes.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Kovako. Mr. Parquet.
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce.
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion to purchase a Timco 600 street sweeper from Golden Equipment as a lease to own through 911 leasing at $58,321.09 for 5 years, 5-year lease, and authorize Terry Petrosky, Borough Administrator, to sign all documents pertaining to this purchase.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Parquet. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Lawson again?
Yes.
Any questions on the motion? Any comments on the motion?
I would just like to say, I went down to see it today, and it really is a nice piece of equipment. And I think that's a long-term investment for Donora. It seems like a long time, but the way they set it up in the lease, you're not on the hook for the whole money right now. You have several years to pay it off. And it really was a good purchase for us.
Thank you, Mrs. Bryce. Anyone else? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman.
Yes.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Kovako.
Aye.
Mr. Parquet.
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce.
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Public Safety. Motion to approve the 2020 maintenance service agreement in the amount of $3,325.68 with Crystalline Technology to provide equipment maintenance services on the borough's surveillance cameras.
Second.
Motion on the floor, second by Mr. Kozaka. Any questions on the motion? Any comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ackerman.
Yes.
Mr. Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Kovako.
Aye.
Mr. Parquet.
Aye.
Mrs. Bryce.
Yes.
Mr. Greco.
Yes.
Motion passed.
I have a police report for the month of February. We had 15 total offenses reported. Total arrests was 14. Total revenue collected was $1,677.44.
Anything else, Mr. McDowell?
No.
I guess I have an announcement here on March the 12th, households will begin receiving their invitation to respond online to the 2020 census. The first mailing will be received between March 12th and through the 20th, with 3 subsequent notifications, culminating with a paper response. Enumerators will begin going door to door from May through July for those who do not fill the questionnaire out. Every household will have the option of responding online or by mail or by phone. Data collected in the census will inform the distribution of more than $675 billion federal funds to the states and communities each year for things like infrastructure, health care, and food assistance. It's important that we all respond to shape the future of our communities. This is important to us too, because we need the census. It's been out of whack. So we're encouraging everyone to please respond to the census, either by mail, by phone, but please respond. We want to notify everyone too, I think it's been advertised, there's going to be a special meeting here Tuesday, March the 17th at 6 p.m. We've invited Michael Foreman from the Early Intervention Program. We're looking for some money, federal money, if at all possible, to tear down some blight buildings. I've worked with this guy in several communities when I worked with the union. He has a knack of getting things done. I've seen him work in many communities, and he's an asset. And I hope he can be the asset to us as well, because we got St. Mary's Church up there that we just had, we had it looked at, photographed, and we had a contractor come in and give us a bid, and it's a little over $200,000 just to tear down that one church. Fortunately, we got borough equipment and borough employees that can tear down the rectory and the house, but we're going to try to plan 3 or 4 of these structures together with the help of Mr. Foreman, and hopefully we can get these done. So if anybody has any questions about the blight buildings, or they want to participate in the meeting on March the 17th, it's at 6 o'clock here, and everybody's invited. It's an open meeting, 6 o'clock, right here. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Meeting's canceled.
There are a few things I wanted to add to tonight. First and foremost, I wanted to make everyone aware how proud I am to be part of this body. The past 2 months since everything has began here, they've taken responsibility for a lot of things. We're moving forward. It may seem that it was arduous before, but now you have a new street sweeper. They constantly look at infrastructure inside of our town. They are moving forward on many different projects. Things are getting looked at left and right. Everything that comes up for bid, I've seen at least 2 to 3 members of council get together and talk and say, should we be looking somewhere else? How much does it cost? These are things that you look for in your government. It's what I firmly believe in, and I really appreciate it. Almost everyone that was here ran on a change, and that change is here. It's happening. And I truly appreciate it because I see a new street sweeper. I see police getting new training, places to train, police cars, equipment. I can go on and on within the past few months what has happened. I want the residents to know this because this is how your government works for you. These are things that need to be addressed, and they are addressing them and getting the materials needed to move forward as a community. I just want to thank them for working as hard as they have been and showing a united front, even whenever things come out of the blue, like a coronavirus. We're taking steps ahead of time to make sure things run smoothly for you. I appreciate all their hard work. That's all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have an announcement, though. The Donora Smog Commemorative Committee will hold their annual Easter egg hunt on Saturday, April the 11th at 12 noon at the parking lot here at 6th and McCain. If you have any young ones or you want to bring down there for the egg hunt, please feel free.
I just want to add to that, in case this coronavirus thing subsides or eases, they're just to be on the safe side, just to mention it. It all depends on what happens there.
Mr. Caprani.
Nothing further, Mr. President, thank you.
Rice.
No report.
Mr. Petrosky.
Just the street sweeper was delivered today, and once the guys are trained, it will be out in full force.
Thank you. As Mrs. Rice said, I understand it's a beautiful thing. I didn't get the opportunity to go down and look at it. But
Yeah, it's
I'm sure
impressive.
she knows what she's talking
Yeah,
about.
it is. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. It's good work.
Mr. Vince.
No report.
Mr. Jericho. By the way, Mr. Jericho, you're bringing in some good money into the community. Thank you. You're doing a hell of a job.
Thank you.
That extra $3,000 helps. Thank you again.
I'd like to add something to that, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Jericho is taking on a lot, and I know it gets arduous at times, like so much going on. The main thing I wanted to say is it's going to take him time to hit all of these things. I know I pound him constantly with as many people come to me with complaints and stuff, and I can't believe how responsive he is and how quickly he reacts. And I call him at all hours, and I really do appreciate it. But I know sometimes I get a call the next day and I tell him the same thing like I say about our street department. Give him a minute. There's a lot going on. When you read these reports, I believe how many, Councilman, how many how many inspections alone did he do last month?
I believe 37?
No,
172.
172. Yeah, and it's a constant time, and like I said, council is actually looking at how many times he has to go back and re-inspect to make sure these things are up and to code. I think it's a wonderful job you're doing. I can't thank you enough, and I know your time is very valuable to you, and I take a lot of it. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Mayor. Any old business that needs to be brought up? Mrs. Bryce? No? Mr. Paquette? Mr. Rizal? Mr. McDowell, any old business? Mr. Lawson?
No.
Mrs. Ackerman?
No.
Mayor?
No, sir.
Any new business? I'm not going to go through the whole list again. Any new business?
Okay, no.
Well, then we look for an adjournment. No, we can't adjourn. We got Mr. Pankwitz. You signed the, you wish to address council, please?
Okay.
If you could, bend that microphone back for yourself,
Okay.
so everyone can hear
How's
you.
that? Is that better?
As long as everyone can hear you.
Good. Okay, I'd just like to introduce myself, Stan Pankwitz, and also to thank council, mayor, president, Mr. Greco, for inviting me here concerning an issue of trespassing. I've been real estate taxpayer since the 40s in Donora, formerly Carroll Township, then Donora Borough, and was annexed up on a hill there to be the Joe White plant at that time. My purpose here this evening is to open a dialogue, seek a solution to the seasonal problem. I, et al., own 17 plus acres, Baldwin Park, with a common property line with the park behind the Lauerman Pavilion. And they, along with the other property line is the former Jose Popeye Alvarez, which is now Dennis Gutierrez, runs up that way. On the other side is Walnut Street, which is off of Gilmore Avenue. And then on probably the south end is the gas transmission line, and it borders the property between the Allen Plan and Place Plan. We have a problem over the years with, I call them ATVs, quads. And the seasonal problem with these, they're using the park basically for ingress and egress through my property. And I make it very clear, no one has permission. So I consider it trespassing. And actually, I don't know what ordinance the borough has, but they're actually trespassing on the park property, because they go right through behind the Lauerman Pavilion where the horseshoe courts are, and wherever else they go, I don't know. Coming down 3rd Avenue from the Joe White Plan, you can see where they cross there, and I believe that's park property. So the thing I've been doing over the years, and I'm not physically capable anymore to keep going in there and cutting trees down, blocking their trails, and putting signs up which they tear down. They bring saws in on their ATVs and cut the trees up so they can open their trail up. I had at one time right there off of the Lauerman Pavilion, rebar with the orange barricade fence. Well, that goes out too. So I'm just wondering what we can do about this. Because that's near the horseshoe pits there where they run through there. As of right now, it's not torn up. Who knows what else they're doing. And as far as I'm concerned, these quad owners will be charged with trespassing as such. And my opinion is that I can confiscate their quad. It's on my property. I don't see why not. They'll be walking. I just want to make it very known. I don't know whether it's public knowledge or will be public knowledge, but the property is not their personal riding track / shortcut wherever they're going.
So I'm not sure where we're going with this, but I'm here to start a dialogue, as I said, to see where we can go with this. I have some plans. As I said, I posted signs, they tear them down and all at this point. They have no respect for private property owners, wherever they go. They have the gas line that runs up that one line toward the Ellen Place plant. They have the vertical plastic markers that they put in when they put the gas line on. Well, they saw one right off at the bottom, must have been in their way. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable what goes on with these, who knows where they come from. At the top of the hill, I don't know whether anybody has walked that. At the top of the hill, there's a flat spot. It's like a party place. When, I don't know, but you can see that, maybe little campfires there. That's right next to a single burial plot, from what I can tell. It was called the Hearn Burial Plot. There's one tombstone there. There may be a whole plot, I don't know. But there they are, or right next to it, within a few feet of it, disrespecting the burial site. So, you know, I don't know where we're going with this. This all may sound a little extreme, but this has been going on for quite a while. Over many, many years, probably many administrations here. And I believe even Jim Bryce knows about it over the years, because we talked about it maybe 10 years ago. I don't recall. But as I said, as somebody had commented, yeah, they can see him, but as soon as the police come up, they're running in the woods. Where something's got to be done in order to solve this problem.
Mr. Pavlovich, are you done?
No, I just got about another
I'm sorry.
minute, if you don't
I'm
mind.
sorry,
As I said, the plan, my plan right now is right off that Laura One Pavilion, back in there, maybe about 50 or 100 feet, I'll drop a few trees. It'll just lay across there, probably 10, 12 inches in diameter. And I would expect the park officials or somebody that's up there at least to walk in there once in a while. Or if you hear somebody with a chainsaw, to go in and see what's going on. Because the only one who would be in there should be me. But I will drop a couple trees there. They're of a size where that will block the one trail. And they can't get through. They can probably come through the park and try to go in there, and they'll have to come back out. Or if they come from the other end, they're going to have to go back wherever they came from. I don't know exactly where it is. They may even be coming down off of, would it be 14th Street or something? It's possibly 14th Street. I'm not sure where that's at.
And you're from Castor too,
But,
correct?
I mean, they have all kind of, they're from all over the place. I guess. I don't know how many are local. But the thing I would like to ask here, if possible, the borough, I'd like to have a legal document to indemnify me from any liability that may
From us?
happen due to.
Excuse me, from us?
Pardon me?
You want to,
I'd like to have.
From us?
You can, yeah. You
we
can-
can't control your property.
Well, I
I defer that
understand.
to our solicitor.
That's
But
what I'm
I would
saying.
think we.
I understand that the greatest percentage of these is through the park. So basically, it's back on
But if
the
I
borough
understand,
property.
but if I understand you correctly, you got problems with your property.
Not really,
We can't
because
control your property.
I don't know which way they're coming from, Joe.
I can understand that, but you want us to control the floods from going through your property, if I understand you right. I don't think we can control that, but again, I'm going to defer that to our solicitor.
Well, that's-
We can't defer you from any liability.
I understand that. I understand it, but that's one of my requests here. Because, as I say, they're using the park property in conjunction with the ingress and egress. I don't know which way they come from, whatever, but they're going through there to go through mine.
I'm quite positive that if the police were to catch anybody in the park violating our laws, I'm sure that the police would take action. It's a matter of catching them there. As you yourself stated, once they see the police car, they're going to ride through the woods. And our police cars can't go through those woods, nor can they get out on foot and chase a quad through the woods.
Well, I'm not telling you or the police what to do, but if
I understand that.
If you're sitting on 3rd Avenue and you can see the path there halfway down the hill that they cross right through above the one picnic pavilion, I mean, who knows? Who knows what can be done? Somewhere down the road, it's got to be addressed. We don't have any serious problems, but it could be.
My suggestion to you would be see your own private attorney and see what you can do.
Well, I didn't want to get into that. I just wanted to bring it to your attention and see if we can work together on this somehow. As I say, I'm going to drop some trees, and they're not going to be far off of the park property, but,
We can't stop you from dropping trees on your property.
well, that's fine. I want to do that in order to block that part of the trail, that I can't cover the whole area. And I mean, the other end is Gilmore Walnut Road, which is Borough Road.
And we're not gonna cut down trees to
No,
stop
I understand.
access around our park either.
But,
Put a sign up
as I
there.
say,
Did you just put a sign up there at the park?
Yeah, where they were starting to use the road to park on, to unload quads, we put a sign up to stop at, because they were dragging
There was
mud on the
one- I
road.
was just up there today. They did install a sign.
And when we were having problems with them on the track, we also dropped trees and it curbed out pretty.
Like I said, when we had a problem with them crossing over the walking trail, they put down some trees and they blocked the path as much as we can, but that would be like now summertime coming, that would be a 24-hour day job.
they bring the saws in and they cut them up.
I know.
And with that, with those type of vehicles, no matter what you block, you're gonna find another way to get in there.
Unfortunately.
Well, there's other solutions, but, you know, it's a difficult thing.
Well, thank you for your time.
I'm just hoping that we could work something out, or we keep tabs on it, because maybe if they know that you're proactive in this, they might start backing off a little bit.
I'm sure Mr. Price heard it, and he'll take.
You know, I mean, if you put a notice in that you're not gonna tolerate ATVs and trespassers through the park, how many acres does the park own? Have, 100 and some acres?
115.
Okay, well, we're talking 17 plus where I'm at, and that's really, you know, it's nothing compared to what you have, and they're probably covering your area pretty good. I don't know, I don't walk the whole area, I have no idea.
I thank you for your time, but we gotta move on.
Thank you again too, and I have my contact information.
But please be aware of the fact that we exceeded the 3-minute rule.
Pardon me,
I said, please keep in mind, we exceeded the 3-minute rule. We
oh,
gave
I'm
you all
sorry, I
the
didn't
time
know
to-
that. I'm
No
new
problem.
here.
We'll give you 10 minutes.
Oh, well, thanks very much.
Have a nice day.
You too, thank you.
I believe the next one is Mr. McGilla. You wish to speak?
Well, a lot of you people know me as Paul McGilla. I worked for many years. I'm representing the citizens of Donora. This is in regard to the range.
I'm sorry?
Some of you people are not aware, that's the fourth range being built.
Mr. McGilla, I can't hear you.
Fourth range being built out there. 3 ranges were built in the park, 1 range was built in Slang. All them years, police, citizens, they all got together, nobody said nothing. Now you're restricting the citizens on a public park, which is being built by borough money, which you said it's not, but it is. The crew goes out there and works, we've got 2 machines, we're paying. All I want is maybe we sit down, iron this out. That's all I want. You know the last time the one I got fired, you was down there and arrested, remember?
No, I don't, but I've arrested you.
Well, when Timmy and I got in, what we got into about it, I built a lot of that stuff free out in the park, my time. And I got accused of all kinds of things, and he's, when I work for myself, free, I'm the boss. I'm not gonna listen to the borough employee tell me that I'm not, or this and that, I don't know.
I agree with you there, but may I explain to you why there's been 3 previous shooting ranges up there? We had shooting ranges up there, and as you said, we allowed the public to shoot up there. Sometimes we try to discourage it. But then, because of the liability insurance, that's why they tore it down and shut it down. So then finally, we got council approved, go ahead and do it again, but keep people off of there. We failed to keep people off of there, they shut it down. Liability is a big expense, particularly when you're playing with guns.
Well, you're gonna tell me you have liability on it now?
For the police,
Yeah.
we always carry liability on. Can't
For
carry
range
liability on
in the
you.
park, it's totally different.
No, it's not.
Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and argue. I got 10 questions over here I'd like you people to write and answer to them.
We'll defer that to our solicitor. He can handle anything you want.
And I'm gonna give one to the reporters. I'm not gonna sit here and argue this or that, or it doesn't get me.
You can leave a copy. Thank you.
That's all we need.
Well, we do want you to.
No idea.
But
You left me more than one.
it's just not right. We got along together then before, why can't we get along together now?
We
How
get
many
along together.
are working with the cops, they're helping technically?
We can't allow that, that's all.
Well, how can you allow them in public park? It's the public park, it's our park. And I don't think you're allowed to do the range in the public park, and not that money. And it can't be backed by the NRA. You got everyone, the police officers, the range protect the NRA. the park range, if you haven't, have to be certified by the other.
And it will be.
I bet you don't.
I bet you we do.
All right.
We have instructors.
You like to talk to this?
Mr. Gabalowski, give me.
Yeah. A couple months ago, things started happening back up around Casper Avenue, Chuck's Pub, okay? And then it quit. And then about,
Please, we were quiet when you spoke, please.
a little over a month ago, there was a big blowout out there. There was blood drawn. He was out there with buckets of water washing off his sidewalks, okay? There's 8 children live on that street, between First and Second Street. Can we get a sign up there that says this is a residential place or something? Because when they do come out after he closes, and they're out there hollering and screaming, and you tell them about it, they come out and when they tell you, go to hell, in plain English. Or go screw yourself, one of the two. I mean, they have no respect sometimes, you know, and that. So, I mean, council goes do something. You know, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're sound asleep and this stuff goes on.
Do you call the authorities whenever this happens?
Oh, yeah.
Do they come?
One time I seen the police up there, but everybody's gone.
First off, I wouldn't go out there and tell them to settle down. I would go to the telephone and let the police come up there and do that. Second of all, I think if you get together with Mr. Bryce, there's movies up there, and there's a camera right there, I'm sure he can resolve your issues.
It's the first thing I do every morning. Before I read a report, I go and I watch that camera. Terry gave me a copy of, I guess, your son-in-law's email or whatever that he sent her, not the police, but he sent it to her, and she gave it to me, and on that date, there's nothing there. I know of one incident since they've opened back up, and we thought somebody got stabbed inside, but the guy just cut his arm inside. He went to the hospital. If he was stabbed, the hospital would have called us, and it just wasn't there.
Well, I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah, they come out,
blood, you know.
they come out, and they walk from the door to their car, and sometimes there's 5 or 6 of them, and they are loud, but they get in their car and leave. And Stevie comes out, and he like makes them go. He's out there with a wand, wanding them so that there's not a problem. And since he's opened back up, nobody is calling. And we don't have a problem there. And I got a business that's open there, you know, in town somewhere. That's where the police are going to go, where the problem is. If you don't call, I got to think there's not a problem.
You think maybe you give the wrong date for them to look at the camera?
I looked a couple days both ways.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to Jimmy before,
Yeah.
you know.
I can just openly say, this goes for any resident. If there's a problem in the neighborhood, if there's disturbances, call the police, call 911, they will be there.
I mean, I'll even give you my cell phone number. You call me anytime you want.
3 o'clock in the morning?
Can't ask for nothing but I don't think he cares. He wouldn't give it
Wakes
to
you up and wake me up.
Get up.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think he'd give it to you.
Thank you.
Was there any chance of getting a sign up there that says this is a residential place, you know, like watch your language or something? You know, I mean, I know that sounds stupid, you know.
I think they don't obey the speed limit signs, let alone don't.
You're right there.
But
You're right there.
if it's feasible, if they can do it, we'll look into that.
Okay,
All
thank
right?
you.
Thank you, Gil.
Thank you, Gary.
Anybody else have any comments on his? Next is Chantel Bay. She's still here? Chantel, you're up.
I know we only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to be quick.
You can go more than 3 minutes, don't worry about it.
All right, cool. The first part is we have our annual spring cleanup on April 25th. And I brought flyers for everybody, and there's some extra ones on the back. It's going to be from 11 to 2, and we need as many people there as possible because I don't know if it's just me, but I'm seeing more garbage on the streets now than like ever before. Even going like from the terrace, you know, coming into town, you can't even come into town without being welcomed by garbage. Third Street, McKean, I mean, there's so many areas, and there's a lot of people in this town, so if everybody's able to help out just a little bit. My contact information is on here, so if you're not able to meet us at the memorial where we're meeting up at, you can give us a call. We'll need you guys supplies that PennDOT is going to be supplying us with. And then we'll just pick up the bags on the side of the road. We used to put all the bags underneath the Donora sign. However, with the recent loss of Derek Dow, we're not going to be putting it there. We'll be putting it across from the Veterans Memorial on that side, because that's just kind of like disrespectful to put trash there. So it will be moved from here on out on where we're going to be putting it. So I had to bring flyers for all of you guys. And I know that I've sent the information and Terry confirmed that she received it, but I noticed that it's not on the agenda again for the skate park. So I got information that there was my name on the front page of the Mon Valley Independent in regards to the skate park. One of the first things I'd like to present to you guys can have the letter that I was corresponding with Cameron Baudelaire that clearly shows that I never said that the council approved it. So this is, you guys can keep this, I have it in my records too. The second one is notification. This is important information that we had for when the kids were doing the pepperoni roll sale. It clearly on there also states the city council has not approved this yet, so we would be approaching them. So everybody was on the same page. And then I have an outline for additional information with this skate park. And for the business plan portion that was in the newspaper, one of our team members, she said once this would be approved, and I know it's going to be a very long process, but it's going to take a lot of people to be able to do it. She'll be able to create a business plan for you guys. But from what I was informed of, with having the notifications, having a liability waivers for the individuals assigned, as well as we have the rules of skate year-end risk, that you don't need that liability insurance, from what I was informed of. And they said it wouldn't be that price. So that's why I want to get as much information as possible. I'm trying to gather as much information, but I really would appreciate if we can kind of all work together on this, because it would be a great asset for the Donora and all of Mon Valley. But first was the cleanup, and then I want you guys to all have this information that I have, so we can make better decisions on this. That's it. Then should I just give it to the solicitor or to?
Got anything else that they want to bring up? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Mr. Parquet for an adjournment. Second, do I have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Pavelko. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it. We're out of here.